guys know it's time to start thinking about the holiday shopping you've got to do out there. So we put together some holiday buyer's guide videos, and we are shooting at Toy Traders, which is an incredible store in the Vancouver area. They've got a little bit of everything, including this Nintendo aisle, which is perfect because we're talking about titles for the Nintendo Switch. And man, the Switch has had a gangbuster year this year. Lots of great games. I've got a bunch of them to talk about right now. One of them is Yoshi's Crafted World, which came out a little bit earlier in the year, and it came out I think it's been a little less discussed than I am comfortable with, because it's a wonderful game. I gave it a 10 out of 10 when I reviewed it. Part of that decision was because I played it with my daughter. So if we're talking about a game that is going to be family friendly and you're going to be able to play with young kids, Yoshi's Crafted World definitely fits the bill, but there's so much incredible imagination in the game. You've got to deal with not just the two-dimensional plane traversal that you would associate with, a regular Yoshi's story or Yoshi's Island experience. You actually have to interact with objects that are in the background and in the foreground. There's lots of cardboard arts and crafts style obstructions that you have to walk behind or jump on top of or bonk with an egg. Of course, you're using Yoshi's patented tongue ability to consume enemies and then use them as weaponry and use them as projectiles. The game is just unbelievably charming. Even when you complete a level, you can still go jumping right back in and find little hidden knickknacks for other characters that are like wanting some kind of collectible that you can find for them, and then you bring it back out to them. Or you're trying to find a bunch of these little plushy dogs that you've got to find along the way. Yoshi's Crafted World is a gem. Don't overlook it if you've got the Nintendo Switch, and it doesn't matter whether you've got a kid near you to play this with or not. This game is great for every age. One of my favorite games of 2019 was Astral Chain, which was developed by Platinum Games, and I didn't know what to expect from this title. It's a little bit weird. It's got an anime aesthetic. You play part of this police force, this futuristic police force in a futuristic city. You've got this ability to access these different creatures called Legion, and they are chained to you, which is what that chain means. And you're dealing with a physical reality that feels like normal Earth, and then you've got this astral reality, this other plane of existence. And you have the ability as either a male character or a female character to connect to this other plane through this chained Legion character. And you can use this character and the chain that you have between each other to pull off all kinds of incredible moves against enemies. But there's also quite a bit of other gameplay hooks in this game. Like there's honest-to-goodness detective sleuthing that you have to do and interrogations with all kinds of people. You know what? It was just such a slick and polished experience with really, really tuned controls. I was captivated from the get-go. I mean, even the title sequence of this game was just so damn rad. I was in right from like the moment I booted it up to the moment I finished this game. Absolutely stellar work from Platinum Games, who has an incredible track record, and there's a pretty good chance that the Nintendo Switch player on your list maybe has never even heard of Astral Chain, so you should correct that. One of the most sprawling experiences of 2019 is the incredible Fire Emblem Three Houses, which is another exclusive game for Nintendo Switch. This, of course, picks up from the vaunted Intelligent Systems franchise of Fire Emblem, which we've seen on a bunch of different platforms over the years. It's perhaps best suited for the Switch with its ability to go into handheld mode or to plug it into your television set. Again, this has kind of an anime but more fantasy-themed aesthetic with a bunch of different families. It's almost like Fire Emblem meets Hogwarts, with lots of different characters that have all kinds of magical abilities and combat abilities. It's a tactical turn-based, grid-based role-playing experience, which I know can sound a little dull or dry, but trust me, there's lots of really smart and well-crafted storytelling in this game, lots of characters to kind of latch onto, and the relationships between the characters alter the experience that you're going to find when you hit the battlefield. This is the game that delivers that famous, if you lose a character and they're dead forever, and you never want to see that happen as you're collecting, and amassing your army to go off into battle with. You don't want to lose all of these specially crafted characters. It always breaks your heart when you do. Fire Emblem Three Houses is one of the best Switch games of 2019. That is a big gift to get any gamer in your household. We're on a roll with Switch exclusives, and we got another one. This is Luigi's Mansion 3, which was developed by Next Level and puts our green-suited hero into the spotlight for a nice change. Luigi's Mansion, of course, was a very interesting title that was started on the GameCube. Next Level made a fantastic sequel for the 3DS, but this is the best in the franchise, and it's also the best that Next Level has ever crafted. It all takes place inside of a giant hotel, and you're trying to go from floor to floor and defeat all of the challenges on each floor and collect all of the collectibles that allow you to access further compartments and rooms and baddies that you have to suck into your special poltergust vacuum cleaner. The best work that Next Level has ever done. Gorgeous details, lots of wonderful tactility with all of the different objects that you can interact with in the background. Truly, like you'll walk up to a shelf and you'll start using the poltergust to, push and pull all kinds of objects in there until you find a collection of coins or you find that hidden gem that you were looking for. You also have the ability to play this game cooperatively because there is another character added into this mix called Luigi, which is like this gelatinous version of Luigi, and together, whether you play it alone or with another person, you have to solve a lot of puzzles as a two-person team. It's out of season now because this was like the perfect experience to play during Halloween, but there is such a beatific, cartoony charm about this that it does feel like something also wonderfully crafted for the holidays. You are going to be blown away by the quality of the experience in Luigi's Mansion 3. Whoever you gift this to, make sure you do yourself a favor and play it with them, because this is a game that really shines when you play it cooperatively. Now, Nintendo worked with Square Enix to bring Dragon Quest XI-S to the Nintendo Switch. Now, this Dragon Quest XI you could play on PC, and you could also play it on the PlayStation 4. This is a bunch of cartoony adventurers in a classic fantasy-themed story. Definitely a classic-feeling Japanese role-playing experience, but it's massive in scale, and there's lots to explore, and you can jump onto a horse and go horseback riding and encounter all kinds of crazy bad guys that you have to beat up. Just all kinds of awesome creations that are going to put a big, huge smile on your face. A wonderful, cartoony look to the world and to the characters that you're going to encounter, but there's also a tremendous amount of depth to the story. It's just one of those satisfying adventures that goes on for hours and hours and hours with lots of twists and turns. And what was incredible about Dragon Quest XI on the Switch is that it didn't really lose any of its fidelity. It was as beautiful as it looked on the PlayStation 4. Of course, it's not at 4K, but it's still a wonderful looking game, and it's one of those games where you're going to be really overjoyed that you can play it on the big screen, but also take it with you. Wonderful game. Dragon Quest XI-S is absolutely something that you should pick up for an RPG fan. Now, on the other end of the scale is an adventure game that's a little bit easier to dive into. This is The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, the remake for Nintendo Switch, which takes the classic Game Boy game and basically turns it into an interactive toy. It looks almost like one of those Rankin and Bass classic Christmas shows that we see every year during the holidays, where everything looks incredibly toy-like. Definitely classic Zelda in feel, but there's so much charm. The way that the music and the sound effects and everything has been kind of remastered and tuned for a modern gamer. It's not the most epic in scope or scale. This is not Breath of the Wild, but there is an inherent cleverness and a real maturity with the design of the puzzles and all the dungeons that you have to solve and the bosses that you have to fight. It makes you appreciate how good Nintendo has always been, but that doesn't diminish the quality of the experience in 2019. It's a wonderful, wonderful game, and it would make a great gift over the holidays. All right, there you go. 6 great ideas for the Nintendo Switch fan in your life. There's lots of other games you could look for on this platform. Lots of hidden indie games as well, if you want to go a little bit more esoteric in your choices. But I wanted to give you guys 6 big ones, and that's what you got there. Now, make sure you stay tuned and watch some of the other Holiday Buyer's Guide videos that we're putting up. There's lots of great suggestions in there, and some of those games and some of those ideas are available on multiple platforms. Thanks for watching this video, and make sure you stay tuned for more.